So what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today we're here with our brother Rashad McCrorey. Now, our brother got a lot of good things going on in Ghana, and I want to talk to him today just a little bit about what he has going on and his journey, how he even got to Ghana. So, brother, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I appreciate all you do. Congratulations on your work.
All right, Rashad, I say, where are you originally from?
Me, I'm born and raised in Harlem, New York. Born and raised Harlem, New York City. My parents are from South Carolina. Great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents from South Carolina. My parents met in New York City. I was born in Harlem Hospital.
Okay, Harlem. All right. So you grew up in Harlem, and so what made you start to look at, with time? I know in Harlem, what you're talking about, also 125th Street.
Yeah. I live about a mile from 125th.
All right, because I've been out there to 125th Street, so they out there spitting a lot of consciousness out there.
Yeah. Shout out to my guy, Red and Blue Pill.
Oh yeah, Red and Blue Pill and Sonetta and all of them.
Yeah.
That's I had a chance to meet Sonetta the last time I went to out there.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of good brothers out there on 125th Street. So so you basically been exposed to a lot of consciousness. So when did you want to start going to the African continent?
Yeah, starting as a child. And shout out to my guy Nova Felder, who also does 125th Street. He does the books and he come out to Ghana a lot too. I just want to give him a quick shout out. My father, he's the one who started grooming me to want to return home to Mother Africa when I was a child. I remember being in my new apartment at 6 years old when I was 6, and I remember my father teaching me about returning to Africa in my old apartment. So before I was 6, I was learning about going back home to Mother Ptah Hotep. My father's more of a chematologist, so I was learning about the great kings and queens of Africa, King Ptah Hotep. I'm sorry again, and just really learning about spiritual practices, ancestral worship, and just doing a lot of good work about learning my history.
Okay, so when did you take your first trip?
My first trip was January 2015. So the backstory behind my 2015 trip is that we was originally supposed to go to Cameroon. I went with a school. We were supposed to originally go to Cameroon. However, that's when the Ebola outbreak happened. And instead of Cameroon, they wanted to cancel the whole trip to Africa. They wanted to send us to South Korea and all these other places. And me and a small group of students and teachers, really said, hey, Ghana has no cases of Ebola, and Ghana was also always known as Africa from beginners because of, the right of Adobe, the transatlantic slave trade, and just the welcoming spirit that Ghana has always had.
Okay, all right. So let's get into that nitty gritty of Ghana. The visa process, is that difficult?
No, the visa process is not difficult at all. One of the things that I tell people to do is it's always better to apply for your visa online. When you apply for your visa online, you cut through a lot of the bureaucracy and the red tape. Like I even tell a lot of my clients that when you go to the embassies in person, it's kind of as if it's their job to deny some people or to make it hard on some people, where if you go through the online process, you mail in your passport, you fill out the paperwork online, you send your passport pictures in, and they almost 100% approve your visa. The 3 months visa costs $60. You can also apply for a 6 months or a 3-year visa. The 6 months and 3-year visa is usually only given to people who make multiple trips. You can also do visa on arrival now in Ghana, where you just arrive at the airport and you get your visa. The visa on arrival is $150. And also remember, when you do visa on arrival, to actually get your actual visa, what they'll try to do is, and it's kind of like a con that they do, they'll just stamp your passport and they'll treat that as your visa to let you into the country. But if you ever get in a situation in a country, whether you decide to overstay and you want to go to the Department of Immigration, or God forbid you do legal trouble, they're going to actually ask for your visa ticket. And again, like at the Customs and Immigration, they're just stamp you because the stamp, they don't need to fill out no paperwork. The money is not accounted for. So that's just a little safety tip. I have a small YouTube page with about 1,500 followers where I really try to give like the nitty gritty, the things that you won't really learn from regular people. Everybody want to tell you, oh, this is how you get a house in Ghana. Oh, this is how you get a visa in Ghana. This is how you get a tour, but they're not teaching you little tips like that. So the visa process easy. The only vaccination that's mandatory is yellow fever. Yellow fever is the only mandatory vaccination, and that goes back for a number of decades now. So back in 2015, when I made my first trip to Ghana, I got my yellow fever vaccination, only vaccination I've ever gotten in adulthood. As of now, the COVID vaccination is not mandatory. However, you have to take 3 COVID tests. You have to take your first COVID test within 72 hours of departure. You have to have a negative PCR test less than 72 hours from departure, where to get on the plane. You can't get on the plane in America without the negative PCR test. Once you arrive in Ghana, you have to take a test on arrival, which is $150. And then once you pass the test, you receive a negative test, you get to come into the country. And now to come back from Ghana to America, you have to take a COVID test. And that ranges anywhere between $80 and $150, depending on where you get it, whether you go to a medical facility, whether you use a conserge at a hotel, or you make any other arrangements.
Okay, and I heard, a lot of people was complaining about that with Ghana, was about the test coming in. Like they say, well, I already took a test before I got here, and now you want me to test when I get, when I arrive. And then they was complaining about the prices, and I think that's what a lot of people start going to Tanzania for, was because of that reason. You've been hearing about that?
Yeah, Ghana, country, and always have a lot of respect for the country in numerous ways. It's really enhanced my life beyond what I can do in the United States. There is a lot of issues with fraud on some ends, like I told you, with the visa process. There's always, extra fares being tabbed on here and there. There's been a lot of complaints from Ghanaians, naturalized Ghanaians who travel abroad, about the $150 per test. And especially when you start counting families, because if it's $150 per person, you're thinking about you have a family in 5, that's what, $750. So that is something that does turn a lot of people off. Like a lot of people also been going to Rwanda as an alternative to dealing with the high prices in Ghana. And also Rwanda is a little bit more ethically sound when it comes to just, when you're dealing with police, immigration, and customs and things of that nature. Okay.
So if you decide to go through all of that, you finally get into the country and everything. Where you suggest people stay?
Well, when it comes to where people stay, it depends on whether you want to whether you're staying short term and you want to do a hotel. If you may be staying for 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, you may want to do Airbnb. Or if you're staying indefinitely like me, you may want to find an apartment, already baked house, or even if you want to have land built. So first off, it depends on how long you want to stay. I know I'm referring back to my YouTube video. I just recently did a video about finding housing in Ghana. And one of the main things that I suggested for people as your first priority has to be your safety. Because you wouldn't believe how many people, and I'm hearing these stories all over the continent, not just in Ghana, people who are not really taking their hotel accommodations, their Airbnbs, their housing accommodations seriously. They're going places, think they could just lock the latch door once and nobody's going to break into their home. Just do one little switch on the window without make sure metal bars are on the door. Or they're taking people's words for how close an accommodation is. And Ghana has something where you want something close to the main roads. You find people who get their accommodations online from a friend or somebody who live out there, and their accommodation, once you get to the main road, you still have to go about 5 to 10 minutes down the side road, then up a hill, and then another 2-3 minutes inside of a compound/complex. We would call it a complex. Here they call them compounds. So when it comes to where to stay in Ghana, I always say, know what questions you want to ask people. Like, do you have internet inside your house, or your Airbnb or your apartment? Because a lot of these places have steel beams and poles and cement blocks. where once you get inside the house, it's very well fortified. Like I said, it may have a gate around it. It may have metal doors and not just wooden doors. But once you get inside the house, there's no cell phone reception. So you want to make sure you have cell phone reception, Wi-Fi connection anywhere you go. Also, make sure, again, that is next to a close road. If you're going for a tour, if you're only going for a week or 10 days, for example, you want to make sure your accommodations are near tourist attractions. A story I have about Egypt, I do consultations on trips. Someone said they was going for 3 months and they was going to visit 8 African countries. They had me do a consultation on Ghana. They had me do a consultation on Kenya. I wound up running into them on a plane from Kenya to Egypt. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
From Kenya to Egypt. And when I asked them where they were staying in Egypt, they told me their hotel accommodations, and I knew that hotel was right next to the airport. Well, in Egypt, nothing is next to the airport. Nothing of significance is next to the airport. The nearest tourist attraction is probably the Giza pyramids and the Sphinx, which we all know of, the 7 wonders of the world. But that's about a 45-minute drive. And then on top of that, when you add in Cairo traffic, which is just like LA, just like New York, just like Accra, is one of the worst traffics in the world. It takes you about 1.5 hours to 2 hours just to get to tourist attractions. So I encourage them to try to find a new hotel. I don't really know what they wind up doing, but I know going to and from just basic tourist locations that they was going to have to spend 3 hours round trip just in traffic alone. So if you're going on tours, try to make sure that your hotel accommodations or your Airbnb is close to tourist attractions, no matter where you stay. Like where I live right here, I say Cape Coast because that's more well known, but I live in Elmina, next to the Elmina slave dungeon, excuse me. I'm about a 15 no more than 20-minute walk from the Elmina slave dungeon. I'm about a 20-minute drive from the Cape Coast slave dungeon. So where I stay, there's several tourist attractions, within a nearby facility. However, I know people who stay in Cape Coast, which is the main city in this region that I'm staying in, but they're staying 45 minutes away from everything. Because somebody just happened to get real estate and they were selling their real estate places, but their real estate place was in a bad location. So you have to make sure you ask the right questions. How far am I from tourist attractions? How close I am to towns? How close I am to cities, to nightlife, to pubs, to just basic civilization. Again, being near the main roads is important because you may wind up taking public transportation just to get you to the main road. But then if you still have another 10, 15 minutes to go get to your house, what about when you have groceries? What about when you go shopping? You may wind up spending a lot of extra money on private car services just to get you to your home back and forth. And over the course of months and years, that can add up to a lot of money. I have a lot of little tips and tricks like that on my YouTube. Because
we'll get the link. We'll get the link from you. We'll make sure to post that below so that way people can go click and subscribe and check you out. Like I think I did like a short live yesterday, and the way at least I travel. I'm not talking about other people, but the way I travel. So you're talking about Accra. I'm gonna go probably stay at the Kempinski or the Sheraton.
Yeah.
Because of just what it is. That's just me. Yeah. I'm not from Accra. So I don't, it's like I have a thing about, look, when I'm in my town, I know where to go and where not to go. When I'm outside of my town, I'm going to go stay where at least I know where I'm going.
Yeah, Kempinski is good. Sheraton is good. Labadi Beach Hotel is good. If you're trying to save a little bit of extra money, you can try La Palm Royale. I've stayed there a few times. And then there's, like I said, and on top of that, it's right near Labadi Beach. So those are, you name some good ones, and those are some additional good ones also.
Yeah. So now let me ask you another question, because women, can women travel alone to Accra?
Yeah, I think Ghana for the most part is a safe country in that way. You do hear about people being robbed or having their phone stolen. That's anywhere in the world. But I just feel like I don't know if this is the best example or the best way to phrase it. Like, you may get your phone stolen, but you probably won't get your phone stolen and raped. I don't know how to, just being honest. Whereas in other countries, you may get, grabbed up in the wrong areas. Ghana is not known as that type of country. I think actually Ghana was listed as the second safest country in Africa, maybe after Bosnia. I think out of all names, right? But Ghana was recently named the second safest country in Africa, probably within the last 3 weeks or so, definitely late June, early July. The worries about Ghana, you have to worry about being scammed and overcharged. You don't have to worry about most of the time the actual physical safety. People argue here, but people rarely fight.
Well, let me tell you about that. See, what I know about when the times I went on the continent. See, when you use of America, you see the price is $20, right? Well, on a continent, they may size you up and like, okay, well, it may be for you 50 Ghana CDs. Like, man, I ain't paying that. I'm gonna pay 10. And then you start negotiating.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
people
yeah,
from here don't know about that negotiating, and you can walk away from the deal like, okay, well, keep it then. I'm good. And then
yeah,
usually you get what you want when you want to walk away.
yeah. At first, I went through a little phase where I thought everybody was trying to cheat me, and then I learned that no, everybody just barters here.
Yeah.
And one of my key bartering tips, I say, cut everything in half off the jump, and if you really bold, go lower than half. And also another tip that I give people, and let me know how you feel about it. I say sometimes as Americans, Black Americans, or anybody who has access to European or Northern Hemisphere currency, but for the American dollar, I say try to think of one Ghana CD as $1. Maybe even in a crowd, you may say one Ghana CD is a $1.50, and then that'll help you kind of have an idea of how much you're willing to pay for something. So if you say, all right, Blvd Beach, for example, they're trying to sell you a painting, or you go somewhere, they're trying to sell you a bracelet, or even if you're trying to get manual labor for something, and they go 50 CDs. Say to yourself, 50 CDs. Would I pay $50 for this? And then if you say you would pay $50 for it, then to pay anywhere between like 40 and 60, 30 and 70 CDs. That'll give you a good gauge. That'll help you start, figuring out how much stuff really costs. I'm sure in other countries that bar be a little different, but it's safe to say one Ghana CD is $1 American dollar, and that'll help you kind of figure out how much things cost, even if you're not really sure about being in a foreign country.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, if you're not willing to barter like that, or you're not used to that, because I mean we did that a lot. We was in Mombasa, on the beach. They were selling so many different things on the beach, and my wife, she picked up so much stuff. She told everybody, look, I got 1,000 shillings for everybody, but I won't so and so. They're like, shoot, come on with it, But she negotiated and got so much. That's how she did it. She wasn't really overpaying anything. So you're not willing to barter. Don't get offended. That's just how it is on the continent. So people, you say that's moving there. They have expat communities, right, of Black Americans?
Yeah. A lot of expat communities. I'm near a very popular expat community in the Cape Coast Elmina section. It's as if a lot of Black Americans, especially older people who retire, senior citizens, they gravitate to this area. A lot of people say because of the history of the transatlantic slave trade. Again, the Central region, when you get to Cape Coast and Elmina, those are the homes of the doors of no return. So a lot of people gravitate to those. I know there's expat communities in Accra, of course, because it's the the capital city of the country, and also Aburi in the eastern region. There are patches all over the country.
Okay, now one thing that's important, especially let's say like for digital nomads, internet. So what area, like for me, I always looked at like recently, I was saying, okay, when we go put our studio in Nairobi, I say, okay, the Westlands will have to be the place because they have fiber, right? So how when you picking places where the fiber is that mostly like the most expensive places where they run the fiber at, or how would that go?
Pretty much Accra. And I'm looking around because I just want to see for paper. I recently signed up for this one. They're not here yet. Unlimited high speed for your home. This is a broadband. And I wind up getting, like, on my regular phone and the chips that I'm using now, I get 3G per minute. I'm picking up the package that's supposed to give me 12 Gs per minute. So as I've been here for the last year, the places are modernizing, and I'm excited because I heard good things about the company, even though, like I shared with you backstage, they're supposed to come 3 days ago. They still haven't come yet. But Accra is always good. Any capital major city is always good. My area has always, just since I've been here, has been showing to develop. But I will always say the inner city, the financial capitals, whether it's Kigali in Rwanda, Nairobi in Kenya, Accra, those are always the best places to go because that's where the money is made, and every country is trying to globalize. So
let me ask you another question. So I always ask this from people from different countries they're in. How much money, US dollars, would you need a month to live in Ghana comfortably? Let me say comfortably, not nickel and diamond, comfortably. How much per month?
No. I say the minimum. You say how much per month?
Per month, not nickel and diamond, no.
I would say the minimum. What I tell people, I say the bare minimum. The bare minimum to even make any sense. Don't do it if you can't find a way to at least have 20,000 a month.
20,000 US dollars?
No, per year. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. I said because I was asking per month, and I'm like, well, 20,000. I said, what they got going on in Ghana?
What's that? About, let's just say 2,000.
Yeah, it should be about $2,000.
Like I said, that's bare minimum.
2,500, somewhere around there.
After you get your apartment's fully furnished, you have a car, then you have another 2,000 per month, to live off of after you're settled. That's why I say bare minimum 20,000 a year.
Okay, all right, yeah. So that translates just to basically, I guess you $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
Or so. Okay.
Minimum.
So
bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
Okay. So basically, if you have a family, I would say you need just how I think, you would need $4,000 to $5,000 a month with a family.
Yeah. And I was thinking 2,000 being a single individual person.
Yeah. We got some people that got families, right?
Yeah,
so they probably need double that. And then you're not even talking about school fees, right? They said they want to move there because school fees. Have you looked into school fees?
Mm-hmm. Well, compared to the American dollar, school fees are not much. However, to get into a private school, it is a little bit more. And eventually when you start looking at colleges, for example, but, a lot of people, too many people feel like more want to move to Africa to get away from America. And are not really thinking about how to live a life as a king or a queen to actually thrive in America. And I feel that when people choose to come to Africa, we use Africa in general, Africa just to flee to America, again, it seems like they leave their basic street smarts behind. They feel like just getting away from racism and systematic oppression alone is enough, when it's not enough. You want to be able to protect yourself, secure your home, be safe, be prosperous, and live an enjoyable life. When your money is right financially anywhere in the world, but your money financially right here in Mother Africa, whether you're in Kenya, like you spoke of, Ghana, which I speak of all the time, you know what I mean? To really live a prosperous and happy life out here, you need financial freedom, and it's easier because I know I said think of one Ghana cedi as $1. However, the reality is the current currency exchange right now is one American dollar is 5.7 Ghana cedis. And then your cost of living is so much lower. So in reality, one American dollar to me is more like 7 or 8 American dollars out here. So when you start looking at things of that nature, it always benefits you to want to be prosperous out here instead of trying to just survive. Because we are so caught up in being in survival mode in America, we come out to Ghana and we come out to Africa with them same survival instincts when we actually made it to what we consider the promised land. We made it. Now it's time to thrive. We shouldn't have to be in struggle mode anymore.
Right. And I've always told people that if you can make it in America, like especially you create a business and you can make it here, you can make it other places because the skills are what it is. Now I know the difference on the continent is a little different, how they move, but still I'm talking about the fundamental things in business that you would need to survive. Because some people ask, well, where would I get a job? And I always tell people, it's no job to give you. You need to go either you come in with income already or you create something.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it makes me understand too that I'm still American. Because if all things are equal and a Ghanaian job wants to choose between a Ghanaian and an American, they will choose the Ghanaian unless I dash the money under the table